What is up? And welcome to the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show with Wisk and Kev, coming to you live from Salisbury Center Studios in Manassas, Virginia, on the Wylde Style Network, fueled by Monster Energy.
Yeah, we're a little low on fuel. We only got one Monster can in between us. Yes. We don't have two cans. Always nice to have two cans.
Two cans.
Two cans are better than one.
One for each hand.
Exactly. Double fisting.
How's it going, dude?
Not bad, man. Good to see you again. So we're right before holiday time, like in the heart of it. We're at the shortest day of the year, and we're coming up. Christmas holidays a few days away,
yep.
And then New Year's Eve is going to be a week after that. So this is going to be the last show of the year. The old joke, the last show of 2023. Wait, and it's kind of like it's fun. I think it's celebratory. We made it a year, and literally we made it a year because I think our first show was January 6th,
something like that. Yeah,
of 2023,
right at the beginning of 2023.
Yes.
So we finally get to start with season 2 when I'm uploading the RSS.
I love it. So yeah,
season 2.
And that's why we're taking time tonight to be reflective about season 1. So we're doing a special night.
Yes. And, being holiday time, we got some holiday gifts today, courtesy of the Wisk. Woo! Look at this.
We got the swag. I got the fist. I'm showing the fist, but Kevin's wearing the fist.
Yes.
And so is Lou and Scott. They have the fist out in the studio, but you're not seeing cameras on them, but they got some too.
The Stand Up and Shout Rock Show swag. We got to get some out.
Courtesy of your daughter.
Yes, my daughter
Katie.
did do the design and the graphics.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. And we need to get a bunch of these printed up and
we're doing it.
Get them to the fans.
Get them out. Exactly. Get them out there.
All 3 of them.
Right. Great wear. Exactly. Yes.
So yeah, wrapping it up. Do we want to jump into this now?
I think we jump into it now. Yeah. So let's talk about it. So like I said, It's time to be reflective. So you and we went back and forth in our texting about what we're going to talk about tonight, as we do when we're planning. And we talk about the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show Superlatives of the Year of 2023. And I did because we were writing this up because I have my notes. I'm usually not in notes, but you have your notes certainly. But I just realized that we have a cool acronym like SUAS, Stand Up and Shout.
Yep.
Souse.
Souse.
Yeah, right. So the Souse Rock.
Need some souse.
Yeah. So I think what we started talking about, just to give people that are listening or watching some background into this. As we're talking about season 1, like Lewis brought up that we are in our first season of the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show, and we're wrapping it up. And we have approximately, I believe we have 77 episodes posted on YouTube. We've done more than 77 episodes. So you may have heard those live. We've done a lot of live band interviews. Some have been posted. Most have been posted. Some have hit the cutting room floor. For various reasons, but of course, most of our great stuff is there. And so I think that's what we're going to reference. That's what I'm going to use as our reference list. So anyone that is watching this, we get that asked a lot. How do I see the old stuff? Go to YouTube, just regular old school YouTube, and look up the Wylde Style Network. So that is WYLDE. That's how you spell the wild, like the word style. STYLE. So Wylde Style with Y's and with E's Network. And you will see a playlist there for the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show, as well as our podcast friends that are also on this network. So in reviewing all of the things that we're about to review and discuss, we'll refer to those episodes and those episode numbers so you can find them. And I'm going to beat you over the head with reminding you that it's on the Wylde Style Network, WYLDE, STYLE. And that's how you can find everything, of course, then on all streaming services such as Spotify and YouTube Music and, any other, RSS feed that you use to cast your podcasts.
Correct. Yep.
All right. So we'll get into it. So
13 categories.
13 categories of superlatives tonight. I think our first section really revolves around the show and the podcasting and experiences that we have. We'll list off in a award show format, so we'll give you the nominees, and then of course we'll give you the big winners as decided on by the Academy. Sound
Academy
good?
of Lou.
The Academy of Lou, exactly. So the first category tonight, our first superlative that we're acknowledging in the 2023 season, is the podcast game of the year. So if you've been a regular and watching all of the things that we do on this show, we are big into having some news discussions and rock discussions in a gaming format. Examples of those are Bottoms Up, What Are the Odds, Rock and Roll Rock and Roll True or False.
True or false, yeah.
Would You Rather?
Yep.
That's been out there. So like we frame those in different forms and ways. And so this is the podcast game of 2023. And the nominees are, first game, Effin' AI. Effin' AI of the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show. That was in episode 13 of the Wild Style Network. So if you go back to episode 13, you remember that.
That was fun.
So what I asked Kevin to do is come up with a couple questions to ask. You use Chat GPT, right? Not another. You didn't use Bing or anything like that.
This has no.
Yes. Kevin and I asked some questions to Chat GPT.
Yep.
And we got some hallucinatory kind of answers from Chat GPT.
Did you try it again today to see if it's updated itself?
I didn't. We could probably do that right now. We could probably do that right this second and say, tell me about the standupandshoutrockshow.com. That was my favorite question. We evidently, according to ChatGPT, we interviewed Aerosmith and Guns N' Roses. I remember out of that one. The Stand Up and Shout Rock Show with Wisk and Kevin is a radio program that airs on the Wild Style Network. The show is hosted by Wisk, a veteran radio personality and former musician, and Kevin, a rock enthusiast and longtime fan. The program focuses on rock music from the 1970s to the present day, featuring a mix of classic hits and new releases.
Wow.
The show also features interviews with musicians, music industry professionals, and other guests who are involved in the world of rock music. Wisk and Kevin have interviewed a wide range of guests over the years, including members of iconic bands like Guns N' Roses, Kiss, and Aerosmith.
Nice. We're famous.
And I would love that interview would not have hit the cutting room floor. Not if it would have, we would have thrown Scott out of the booth. So FNAI nominee number 1. Nominee number 2, What Are the Odds? Motley Crue edition, which is episode 23. So looking at that YouTube Wild Style Network, episode 23. What Are the Odds? You remember that? We that was really kind of in the heat of all of the Motley Crue drama.
The drama was just kicking up.
So, yesterday broke news that Mick Mars, there's been a little bit of kind of back and forth. It was they announced he was leaving the band or leaving as a touring member of Motley Crue.
Yeah. Yes. And we discussed some odds of the possibility of Mick Mars returning to Motley Crue, the possibilities of them ever receiving a, hit album or a hit single again. Some good debate there, and especially now that time has gone by, I don't think that we've seen any progression on those odds either way.
Well, I mean, so they did just announce the other day that they have a new album that will be coming out in 2024.
Yes.
But then today they announced their big New Year's Eve LA show was canceled.
Yes.
So
Right. It's still in limbo. And that album, if it comes out, that was one of our odds questions, was basically how successful was that album going to be? And if the album's not out, we're not going to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see, if the album comes out. Obviously, Mick's album is coming out in February. So, and he's already released a track, which is killer. But we'll be able to follow up on a few of those in the new year.
Yeah. All right, next nominee, Bottoms Up, the Metallica edition of Bottoms Up. Bottoms Up is a game where we rank albums from our least favorite to our most favorite, not meaning that the least favorites are bad albums in any way. We love every Metallica album, but it was with The Age of Ruin in episode 37.
Same time, I don't want to belabor the point, but I think it is age because we are a little bit older.
Yeah.
So we were in high school when Master came out. So that was our gateway drug to Metallica.
Yeah. You're probably going to hear about the Age of Ruin a lot because they're repeat guests on the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show. And obviously, if you've been watching or listening, you might have seen Age of Ruin off and on from time to time, but they're very welcome guests and always fun and made that a good conversation.
Yep. And that was the second edition of the Metallica Bottoms Up.
Yes, exactly. So we talked about Metallica, especially with the release of 72 Seasons this year.
Yep.
That really spurred that conversation.
For sure.
Yeah. Rock and Roll True or False, episode 58. So we looked at myth versus fact. So things that happened in rock and roll versus things that did not happen that are myth and legend that are out there. And we grilled, it was maybe the second time that we had Scott on the show.
It was Grilled a Millennial Night. It is a myth.
Dang.
It was Grilled, and we also had John the sound man. We had Scott the producer and John the sound man on the couch. And I have to say that Lou participated in this one too. And I actually thought he was the craftiest. He was the most difficult one to trick like in any of the fact or fiction. I was always worried when it got to him. That's why we always asked him last.
Right.
Yeah.
I have lots of useless knowledge in my giant head.
But yeah, I think there was some things we threw at Scott that he didn't even know. He'd never even heard the story, whether it was true or false. He was just simply like trying to figure out what the hell we were talking about.
When Scott's dad was a kid.
Probably, yeah. I don't remember any of those. Pretty much.
All right, yeah. And then our last nominee, Bottoms Up, the 1983 edition. So being 40 years out of 1983, we took our favorite albums, our favorite 10 albums from 1983, and we ranked them from bottom to top. And that was in episode 46.
You know it's got to be number one.
I think so. Are you coming up? There's my shout at the devil. Oh, that's good, Kevin. Yeah, Kevin's got Pyromania.
Yeah.
That was a fun one too.
Another fun one. So looking at episode 13, episode 23, episode 37, episode 58, and episode 56, all of those topics, if you need those numbers again, on the Wylde Style Network, WYLDE Style Network, those are our nominees.
Like Zach Wylde.
Like Zach Wylde, and also like the style of Wylde. I have a nominee. I have an envelope. And the winner is going to be the reveal. Bottoms Up, 1983 edition. We went with the 40-year, the Academy decided on the 40-year anniversary of all those wonderful hard rock albums, metal albums that came out in 1983 because it was a stellar year, and how we reviewed those from top to bottom. Any thoughts on that?
No, that was fun. I mean, that's been a great way to kind of talk about little rock history, rock current events, and make it interactive. And, I know we've talked about wanting to try and get more audience participation.
Yes.
So that's going to be a great New Year's resolution.
I like it. That's a good point.
Season 2.
Absolutely. Excellent point. All right, next category. Podcast booze shot of the year. So like we've taken shots on the podcasts. Sometimes they were verbal shots at each other, but this is actual alcoholic shots that were done on the podcasts. We have 3 nominees for this award rather than 5. The 3 nominees are, first one, Gavin Evick turns 21 in episode 12. You remember that, Kevin?
No, I'm not a drinker. I don't like alcohol, so I really hope, I just kind of suck it up.
But I do remember that.
Gavin Evick had his first. Okay, so this is a little bit of a debate that came up in this episode. If you go back and rewatch it, he had his first legal shot, but was it his first shot?
And here it was.
And here it was. That is true. So Gavin did
I don't know about other places, but in here, he never had it until he was 21.
That is very true. He was up here with the band.
That's right.
Remember
if
what
ABC is listening.
You remember what they shot?
No.
It was Fireball.
Was it?
That was always his, to me, his go-to.
That was the New Year's after New Year's after New Year's after New Year's party?
Yes, exactly. Okay. Exactly. Nominee number 2, Gavin comes back again. Gavin crashes Heavy Metal Night in episode 38.
I'm about to spit this motherfucker out, dude.
You got it, brother. It was just apple juice.
It was nothing.
It was only apple juice.
It was nothing.
So if you guys remember that episode, Gavin Evick returned here. It was on a heavy metal / punk rock night on a Friday. Gavin showed up. He just bounded into the studio, and I think Scott brought him a shot. This was well after because if you look at the numbers of episodes, episode 38 is well after episode 12. So he was well past his 21st birthday to verify what Lou was just saying there. And then Scott is smiling as he acknowledged bringing that shot out himself. So that's nominee number 2. And then nominee number 3. Okay, this is an interesting shot because this is a non-alcoholic shot.
Yep.
The Pringles and Monster Taste Challenge in episode 50. All right, so where do you guys want to start?
I don't know.
right,
I was thinking we should start original.
Original? So again, our friends with Age of Ruin, recurring guests like Gavin Evick, came up and we paired Pringles with different flavors of Monster Energy drink to see which pairings tasted the best.
We were fueled by Monster Energy.
How did you feel about that episode, Kevin?
And we're supposed to be fueled by Monster Energy again in 2024.
All right.
Just got to get ink on the paper.
How did I feel about that episode?
Yes.
I think the adjective was chaos.
That episode was chaotic.
It was a very chaotic episode. A lot of folks in the studio, a lot of noise, but it was fun.
I think the most people we ever had in the studio. If we had like a category for that, the most that we packed in that night, I think we had at least, I don't know, 14 to 16 people in this studio.
At least on the couch.
Yeah, right. And then I also know that there were friends of mine that were here, and then a woman that I work with was trying to sneak in and steal Pringles, which I thought was really funny. And now what's happening is because of the chaos of the conversation, I didn't even notice all of that. All right. So there we go. The 3 nominees. We got 2 Gavins, 1 Pringles. And the winner is Pringles and Monster Taste Challenge in episode 50.
Kevin's going to be so upset.
Are you pissed about that, Kevin?
No.
You're good with that one?
I'm fine with that.
Even though it was a non-alcoholic shot.
I had some later.
All right, Kevin, you got yours. You were good to go. All right. Next category, left field podcast moment of the year. So the thing that caught us the most off guard and came out of nowhere. All right, episode 39 on the Wylde Style Network. On the Wylde Style Network, you can find all of these episodes. Teenager crashes the show in episode 39. Surprise special guest, but this is Massimino Iona. Remember that? That was my stepson decided to come in here and crash and give his thoughts on the, oh my goodness.
Oh, Sonic Temple.
Sonic Temple. I wanted going to say Rocklahoma, but I was like, I can't be Rocklahoma. It was in Ohio. We had the Sonic Temple Festival, and like he had just was dying to give his thoughts, and he did very, He
did fine.
All right. And next we have the Pringles and Monster Taste Challenge in episode 50 that came up again, with Daniel Ruin.
That's weird.
I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, this is just Pipeline Punch. If we were just shooting vodka, we'd be like...
I'm trying to identify...
Not, I would say, again, came out of left field.
Certainly.
All right, yes. And the final nominee, Stonewall Jackson Senior High School Class of 88 Invasion in episode 69.
Nice job.
Yeah, yes, sir.
No troubles there.
So the Reagan years,
the reflex.
Seriously, are we still 15 years old?
Could we have timed that any better? Like, how could we have timed and paced the numbering of our episodes for the magic number 69? Remember we used to do that at El Taco? We used to fight like over that ticket.
I do.
You get El Taco 69. And we do it. Who would have guessed that Stonewall Jackson?
We'd let people cut in line so we could get it.
Exactly. All right, Kevin, you have any thoughts? You have any predictions from the Academy?
Sorry. No.
All right, no predictions. Any predictions out there, Scott, Lou, from the 3 nominees?
I know. It's got to be Class of 88 because Sherry Deans was here.
Damn, the Academy is with you, Lou. Stonewall Jackson, Class of 88 Invasion, episode 69.
I know how the Academy's mind works.
With that numeric system?
Yeah.
All right, next category.
Want me to take this one?
Take it.
All right. This is the Scott moment of the year.
The Scott moment of the year. So when Scott showed up and did his moments, his magic moments, how many of these do we have, Kevin?
We have 4 of them.
I love it. All right, let's read off these moments.
The show was canceled. Episode 47.
You remember what happened with Scott on that one? We were not live on Wednesday, but we're live on Friday.
Gets to who'd I see?
Fallout Boy. We're Scott with the sound
happened.
effects.
What happened with Scott? Where did Scott go that night?
He went to some lame show.
Was it Nickelback?
We'll get him here one day.
No.
It was
I
not.
don't think it was.
It was not Nickelback.
Is that Fallout Boy?
Yes, it was Fallout Boy. Yes. Which leads to our next Scott moment.
What the fuck is emo music?
That was a good one. That was viral.
Yeah.
What the fuck is emo?
Like My Chemical Romance would be another emo band.
Oh, yeah.
Panic at the Disco.
They're emo?
I'm exactly. So right. You get into these conversations about classification, right? It led to that question from the Stand Out and Shout Rock show. And Scott.
Episode 54, is that right?
Episode 54. Yeah. Epidose. It's a little spelling there. Epidose 54.
Okay.
But yeah, yes. So Scott missed the show to go see Fall Out Boy, which led to discussion. That's 7 episodes away about emo music. we had him on the couch and we were grilling his ass about why the show was canceled, but we didn't talk about emo music in the same episode, huh?
It must have been, clearly it had to be later.
Yeah, I know. Like 7 episodes later. I guess
7 segments later.
we let Scott off the hook for a little bit of time.
There must have been a Friday metal night
Yeah.
sandwiched in between.
Yeah. All right.
The third nominee, Rock and Roll True False, episode number 58.
We had Scott on the couch. Scott was a little bit of a deer in the headlights in that one. That was kind of a great Scott moment.
Oh, gosh. This is another 50-50 for me.
That's a much better.
A little rough.
But he was pretty much on. He got the answers right
There was.
for not being alive for virtually any of them.
I don't think he got the Keith Richards, like the snorting the ashes. I think that was a little.
I didn't get that one. Who would think that he would smoke his dad or whatever the hell he did?
Snort. He snorted. It was even
Snorted
worse.
his dad's ashes.
Yeah.
And then nominee number 4, top 2 concert reveal.
It's Nickelback. But before you say anything, you guys talk about a lot of rock bands. On 0 to 10, where do you rate Nickelback?
11,
Oh, no, you're joking. Wait,
Yeah.
episode 59.
So we had Scott in episode 58 and episode 59 of the Wild Style Networks. If you need to look these episodes back up, because they got some great Scott moments. So we were, the thing I like about this one, we were revealing our top 3, but Scott came up with 2. He was revealing his top 2. Like, I don't know why we went from, Scott went from 3 to 2, but he decided to go with 2.
It was the top, I think it was the top 5 or top 10 of the shows at the Salisbury Center.
Yes. Well, no, because I feel like Scott went with Nickelback on this one. This was a Nickelback.
Oh, was it?
Nickelback. We had a Nickelback reveal with Scott that
I
night.
believe I did that as number 1, did I?
Yeah, I think you did. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that was out at Jiffy Lube.
You got it.
There could have been another like potential cancellation, as you did with Fallout Boy from the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show. All right, Scott, do you have in all of your moments, this is a good time for you to chime in. Do you have a winner here? Do you have a award winner?
I feel like the Academy and Kevin might have voted for the Nickelback one.
Oh, so you're saying the top 2 concert reveal?
You got it.
And you got it, Scott. When you have your moments. The Academy voted for the top 2 concert reveal. Congratulations, Scott. We need to actually next time.
Apparently, the Academy is very transparent.
I don't know, these envelopes.
We couldn't afford.
They're locked down.
We couldn't afford Damon to be the accountant to tabulate all the
Right,
votes and keep
exactly.
it quiet.
Right on the lockbox. All right, so we have this.
If we'd have got it, it would be way more accurate. The accounting firm of Schaefenstein and Schaefenstein.
All right, moving from the Scott moment to year. You want to do the next one?
Sure.
Do it.
Lou moment of the year.
Lou moment of the year. Scott's not the only award winner.
Nominee, and so we've got 4 nominees.
And I'll say these nominees. So everything we've done so far in all 4 categories have all been about the podcast and the show.
Yep.
This is where we move into murky territory, because with our Lou moments of the year, we have things that are live events and we have podcast episodes, because I guess the Godfather rules all. You know what I mean? He's got his hands into everything. So we have a mix here of actual live events and podcast episodes.
Correct.
Yeah.
First nominee, the owner's birthday bash, May 13th.
Owner's birthday bash, May 13th. Big Lou had the birthday, and we still have.
And Jeff was the deer in
Owners.
headlights.
I had many. I think that could have been.
Yeah, they should have the top 4
Deer-
Jeff
I
being a
was
deer in
gonna say.
headlights moments.
I don't feel like that. Right. There could have been multiple categories of those.
There's at least 4 of those.
Exactly.
Let's see. Kicks. Jimmy Haha.
I would broaden X.
And Sherry Deans.
I would also put in Sean from the Four Horsemen.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that was the
Prior
original.
to the
I think you were kind of
show.
intimidated because he was so rough.
Yeah, and I was
Like, he's
opening for
direct.
him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you know, like I was about to open for him, and he was like, talking about the quality of his opener.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so go keep going. We got the owner's. By the way, the owner's birthday bash. I mean, that was very much a Jeff Salisbury. We were lovingly referred to as Lou, but like that was a Jeff Salisbury night. There was like full on Salisbury isms all over the place. There was kicks. There was family. There were friends. There was a an intense VIP lounge. It was just a golden night.
It was.
Yeah,
Knocking it out of the park on that night.
absolutely.
Nominee number 2, Kicks Show Recap, episode 31.
They were wanting it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to, but I think I would have lost it if I'd have gotten up there.
I like it because that's when we got to hear, all the Salisbury backstory of that night because, I guess there's not an episode. We're trying to I wish we had a date for episode 31, but I know that is on the heels of the owner's birthday bash. And I know that we got to hear how that all kind of came about.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like some strong conversation.
Nominee number 3, Rock and Roll True or False, episode 58.
No, it didn't say that. It didn't say it was virtual.
I believe that.
It said that she was from New York and assessed him.
I believe that.
It didn't say that he was in New York doing the assessment.
Rock and Roll True or False. That's what I'm saying. The man was on. That's who we had to stump. I think you may have gotten one wrong.
Yeah, I think I got the Keith Richards wrong.
And I think that was it.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I remember about that one where we had some debate, some good heated debate, was the Debbie Harry, Ted Bundy rock and roll myth.
Oh yeah.
Whether that was
I disproved it.
that was myth or fact, because it was very gray, and how you define that in terms of the letter of fact or myth. Because she was abducted, that was true, but it was never defined as of who, so you couldn't specifically say Ted.
Yeah, but he wasn't in the area where she was at the time.
Yeah, you that's your standing behind, but maybe.
Yeah, he took a quick trip up to New York or whatever it was from
right?
Florida to go abduct her, and then came back down and committed all the rest of the crimes in Florida.
Right. Well, we know she was abducted. We just don't know by who.
Yeah.
And the debate rages.
He had to throw him off his trail for a little while.
But Jeff was the one that picked that up. So there we go. Stand out for that episode 58. You can see the debate back on episode 58.
And nominee number 4, Kicks at Dewey Beach, August 3rd.
We road tripped in style, man. We did the road trip up in the Salisbury limo. That was like old school beach kicks. So that was that was a slick moment too. Also, I have to go back. I'm thinking, go back to the Kick Show recap in episode 31. I think that was maybe the first time that we had a good debate, which we've had for years and years and years, over Jeff Tate and Corey Glover. I think that resurfaced in that episode, if my memory.
It all comes back to those two.
Exactly. All right. Any thoughts on this, Mr. Salisbury? Since this is about you, what's the Academy
It's got to
decided?
be the birthday.
Man, you guys are both spot on the owner's birthday bash. How could it not be the owner's
It had to
birthday
be.
bash?
I mean, that was one of the greatest moments of my life.
And mine too.
Yeah.
And I'm not even you.
Yeah.
That was a stellar night.
To clarify, I have no wife or kids, so I can't put those up there for anybody who's listening, thinking that, what about your kids? Or
Well, I'm not good at prognostication.
that I know of, I guess I should say.
I'm not a good prognosticator, but I think that's not the last time we'll be talking about that night.
I think you're absolutely right about that. By the way, think of just the swag that came out that night. We have shirts, we have posters, just all kinds. We had
That was one of the other fun pieces at Dewey, because people were coming up left and right looking for those T-shirts.
Yep, exactly. And also the timing of that, just even with Kicks, which was completely unplanned. They were announcing that this was their final year of playing together, and it was in that time. So you had the show on the heels of that. So
Yeah, they announced the Sunday before our Friday show.
yeah,
5 days.
yeah,
Got lucky on that one.
yeah. So right, exactly.
'Cause,
So,
I mean, that probably attributed to at least another 100, 200 ticket sales would be my guess.
yeah. And in Kicks lore, you'll always have that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so excellent. There we go. Next category. You want me to take this one? You want to keep rolling? You're on a roll.
I can do this one.
All right.
Best interview reveal of the year.
A reveal. So when something comes out that we weren't expecting to hear, when we were interviewing a music act of many types, because we interviewed many, who gave us the best dirt? Didn't have to be scandalous, but just best inside info.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
So, first nominee, Getting Deep with Pete Evick, episode number 1.
Episode number 1. Right.
Every night when he went on that stadium tour, he didn't go out thinking, I'm the greatest guy in the world. He went out and goes, there's 80,000 people out there. They all hate me, and I have 30 minutes to make them love me.
Mm-hmm. And I'm half.
By the way, I thought Pete was supposed to be here this week.
I reached out to him. I'm trying to get him here. So
yeah, he was acting like he was going to be on the show this week.
He was a little under the. He texted me back yesterday. Said he was a little under the weather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But we're still hoping that we can go a couple weeks.
At the beginning of the year.
It would also be like, speaking of episode 1 with Pete, it would be a reunion because he was our first episode in that first week of January. So that would be kind of cool and kind of special to have him, then also. So
yeah.
So I'd definitely be down with that. And I mean, I think that we hit a better mark personally. I think we've grown into this show. I wish almost that we had like more of the skills that we had now to have that conversation with Pete, because Pete on his own revealed a lot. Definitely made, at least for me, in terms of being the first interview that I've ever done in a podcast, made me more comfortable. So I want to thank Pete for that. But he did reveal some things in that one regarding Bret Michaels. And
he did, and some things that...
NSF.
Yes.
NSFW, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't quite make it to air for some of it.
Some of it hit the cutting room floor. Exactly. Some of it has to happen. So... always good getting to know what's going through Pete's world and in his mind and his experiences. So another reason to get him back out here and talking some more.
And he's had a lot going on this year, so
yeah,
it would be good to catch up. Nominee number 2, which was our second episode, Getting Deep with Sean from the Four Horsemen.
Albums to date, and I'm going to play that song. I actually like that whole album.
Episode 2.
Yep.
And the Wylde Style Network. So again, you want to find the playlist and find these episodes, go to YouTube, go to the Wylde Style Network, and subscribe to the Wylde Style Network, and you'll see any upcoming podcasts that are published there. But Sean, we were asking him and talking to him about his passion for Metallica, and he really got into some deep personal conversation as to what drove him to first fall in love with Metallica and then play Metallica songs in the way that he plays it, which is note for note album quality with the Four Horsemen. I wasn't expecting that conversation.
Nope. That was a good one.
Yes.
Nominee number 3, Rock and Roll Stories with Chips Enough, episode 44.
Yeah. There's a reckless abandonment to Enough Snuff, and that's special. And just like those other bands that are out there I mentioned earlier, we all carry ourselves in a certain way.
Yeah, so Chips Enough rolled up here before he played here at the Salisbury Center, and he was a fountain of conversation.
He was, yeah.
I'm not even sure if we asked him too many questions.
Maybe 3.
But it remains the most popular podcast episode on the Wylde Style Network. We've had the most views from Chips Enough, and all the stories about countless musicians. I love his stories about with Steven Tyler. I specifically remember that, him recounting conversations and discussions that he had with Steven Tyler.
Yeah, and we talked about the Beatles' influence on their music. It was more than 3 questions.
Yeah, right.
But and particularly, because we've had this discussion several times about the late 90s and hair
glam.
metal and then grunge was starting to spin up, and so we kind of got into that, and they were kind of a unique band that really wasn't, they were kind of glammed out, but they weren't they weren't true hair metal, I would say.
Right, exactly.
The bands that were coming out at the same time they were very much cookie cutter.
Right.
And a lot looked the same, sound the same, and Enough's Enough was quite different. And so their timing was not great.
Yes.
And what ended up leading to them not having probably the success they should have.
Sure. I know. I think we've had a lot of good conversation about where the lines of categories kind of fall and what is a category of just even basic hard rock, or what people call classic hard rock versus glam, versus heavy metal versus thrash. And so I think, a lot of that conversation came out from Chip that night.
No, he was great with that. And so fun conversation.
The other thing that I loved about that particular story or that interview was Chip calling Lou. He was the only like outside rock star that came in and like referred to Jeff Salisbury as Lou. And I love those moments to hear him like look up and say, "You, Lou."
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the fourth nominee was Nova Stories with Jay Nedry.
Like I got to take a note home from the principal to my mother after school, and your guts are churning.
Sure.
And I called that the fire in the belly. And I said, man.
The Road Ducks.
The Road Ducks, episode 49.
Mm-hmm.
Wealth of music history in this area.
Yeah.
It was just an honor to have him here in the studio and talking about his history and his experience as a musician and owning one of the more popular venues in the area for years.
Yeah, and like you just start by saying that he was playing that night. He was playing drums in his 70s, going down and playing with the Road Ducks that night, which is amazing. And then took the time up to come up and just really have what I thought was very articulate conversation about, bands, both small local acts or national acts that have come through his club when he was a club owner, or experiences that he had as a musician, either playing with or opening for, those acts. And of course, that was also in and around the time of the Kicks announcements and right after Kicks was playing here. So he had good conversation about that too. So all of them were fantastic conversations. I think this is a really tough category. You got any thoughts out there from the Peanut Gallery that doesn't necessarily know how the Academy voted?
Yeah, honestly, dude, those are 4 really, really good interviews.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially your first year in, and I mean, kudos to you guys, honestly. That's really good.
Thank you.
I also say that they got high numbers. I think all of them were well watched, those interviews.
Chip got 208 new views in the last 48 hours.
Wow.
It just keeps climbing. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I think they were all great, and all roads lead to Kicks, but I would say probably Chip's enough.
Okay, go for the Chip's enough out there. All right, the Academy actually selected Nova Stories with Jay Nedry.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That one was definitely a toss-up because Pete's was great.
Yes.
If we could have revealed what hit the cutting room floor, probably that one would have been number one.
Sure.
Jay was just really open and, a lot of history for around here, Northern Virginia. So that one was really good. So, I thought that could have been it. Of course, Kicks. Kicks is always, the answer for us usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just figured Chip just because it just keeps doing work.
I know.
Day after day, week after week.
Yep.
Adding more and adding more.
I agree with you. I think the choice between it could have been easily any of those 4. The Academy's weird. You don't know how it's hard to predict how they're going to vote. And
that's the quote of the Academy is weird.
It's like we're not quite the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. I know, right?
It's less racist than the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. So moving from the interview reveal from the year, moving to the interview of the year. So not necessarily what caught us as revealing information, but just the best overall interview. And this is another really tough category.
Go ahead.
All right, you want me to do this? Okay, so nominee number 1, Kicks. Kicks in here. We talked about the owner's birthday bash.
Welcome, Mark, Bob, Jimmy, and Brian to the studio. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Salisbury Center.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
The success that was for the Lou moment of the year, how thrilling it was, especially at the timing of it. And we were very fortunate. We didn't know it was going to happen. If Kicks was going to come up to the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show studio and have some conversation with us. I was opening for them that night, so I was nervous as hell. So there's Cindy Brady, like in full throttle, full force. We were dealing with sound check and whether or not that was going to happen. And then all of a sudden I get from you, go upstairs. We're podcasting now. And there it was on. So like, going out of like a horse race coming out of a gate, we were just exploded out and having that conversation. Great conversation. My favorite part of that conversation was Bob Pare's reveal that he's into yacht rock. Yes. So that could have been I guess that could have been a reveal nomination, like in that way. Who would have guessed that Bob Pare is a yacht rock guy?
Not me.
Yeah.
I would have. Chris, he's like a real mellow dude.
He's a total mellow dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, nominee number 2, Chips Enough, episode 44 on the Wild Style Network. So,
And we just got laid every single city we went to. And just everything was for free.
go to the Wild Style Network if you want to see the Kicks episode 27, Chips Enough, episode 44. Of course, we just talked about that and a lot because, of course, Chip revealed a lot. He was a great interview with a lot of hits, just fantastic. The Road Ducks, so that would be with Jay Nedry again. So he came up again. Both nominees are repeat nominees.
2 nights for me, sold out both nights.
Yeah.
I made $30,000. I paid them a lot of money.
In episode 49. And another one with Jeff Broadnax, episode 60.
Rock show, Mr. Jeff Broadnax.
Yeah.
Hey.
How's it going?
Everything's great, man.
So Jeff Broadnax of Egypt and 24/7 Spies, 2 East Coast bands that I certainly was an enormous fan of back in the day. Kevin, also, we were thrilled to have Jeff in the studio and talked about some great experiences that he had, not only with 24/7 Spies in Egypt, but as a solo artist and then with his newer band, Shock Mafia.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
The playing in a subway in Korea story was mind-blowing.
Yes, exactly. And how much of a growth experience that was for him.
Right.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic. All right, and the winner is, how could it not be? Because it was the opportunity of a lifetime that we'll never have again. That interview with Kix in episode 27.
Yep.
As you said, 2023 seems to be Kix' year, and they're running away with some awards early on, or maybe halfway through in our 2023 Stand Up and Shout Rock Show Superlatives. All right. You want to go with the next category?
Sure.
Still in the categories, our last... No, it's not our last. It's our second to last podcast. We're talking about our podcast a lot. We're being reflective on all the great things that happened. So, yeah. So I'll let you go with that.
Sure. The interview you wish you could do again of the year.
All right. So if we had another shot at
might have been a few.
This is we're admitting that we could have we wish we would have caught some things a little or asked some things a little bit differently or approached things a little bit differently. Been a little less Cindy Brady maybe on my part. But if we could do it again, what would those be?
So, nominee number 1, The Four Horsemen, episode 6.
No one's ever going to be the album, but we will strive to be album quality. Like we're going to give you everything you heard on the album.
Oh, wait a minute. So, so there was 2 Four Horsemen interviews.
Yes. So
I can.
episode 6 was the interview with the whole band.
Exactly. Yes, and that was before the show when I might went a little Cindy Brady on that one. And I also remember that I had probably about 5 minutes to go when we closed that interview and then run down and play on stage. Right. So there was a lot of that was maybe the Academy was maybe influenced by my foibles on that one.
Nominee number 2, Adam and the Metal Hawks, episode 21.
21,
right?
That is right.
Adam Ezegalian and Ryan DeVersa from Adam and the Metal Hawks.
Nice job with the last name, Kevin.
Those are some tough ones.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
So that was that
couldn't be.
Yeah.
I think it.
Adam and the Metal Hawks. That was Pete's birthday bash. I mean, New Year's Eve bash.
Was it? I thought. I'll recheck.
So it would have been in February. It may have just gotten placed
pushed
in the
back.
wrong order.
Yeah, like pushed back a little bit in the playlist order.
Yeah, but that was.
Oh, gotcha. They got pushed back. Scott said.
Yeah. So
copyright.
So that was a great interview because obviously they were here as an opening act for Pete's after New Year's bash, and first time we got to meet them, but it was also one of the interviews from that night that led to sort of the reconfiguration of the studio.
Yes.
To allow us to do band interviews much, much better than we did that night, where we were all, everybody was crammed in and around the table, kind of on top of each other. And then, so we only brought in Adam Ezegalian and Ryan DeVersa, 2 of the members of the band,
right,
as opposed to all 4
super talented musicians.
Yes, very, very talented musicians.
Yes. Yeah. And I will admit my failings on that one. Like I came to learn of Adam and the Metal Hawks that week. I was listening to them coming into knowing that we were going to be talking to them.
Right.
And I wish, I've been listening to them since. Sure. And I wish I would have known then what I know now.
Yep.
I would have to say that, very as a confessional.
Sure.
On my part.
And then nominee number 3, Jimmy Haha, episode 43. Vocalist and guitar player of Jimmy's Chicken Shack, who will be headlining the Local Palooza 2 show. welcome.
How you guys doing?
40. Episode 40. Jimmy Haha, episode 40. So we had Jimmy Haha. He was virtual, so he zoomed in. I wish I would have been live. I wish we had a good live conversation with him. I think it would have been a good conversation. We could have caught him. Been more spontaneous.
Yeah. And there was some technical and some timing issues.
Some storms that night. It was the beginning of summer, or no, it was the heart of summer. So like there was some ugly lightning, studio foibles. And, I'm a squirrel when it comes to that. Like I can't stop looking at lights going out and flickering and that kind of stuff. So,
certainly felt a little rushed to me when we did that interview. But and nominee number 4 is the Kicks interview.
Thinking about this for quite a while, and it sort of picked up speed after I had my cardiac arrest back in November.
From the owner's birthday bash.
Episode 27, right? Like it was a great interview.
It was a great interview. To me, it seemed to have a little bit of an awkward kickoff. Because as it was rushed, right?
Right.
As you mentioned, we weren't sure if they were actually going to come up and talk to us.
Right.
And then at the very last minute, they agreed to do it.
Right.
So we kind of came up, and then felt like it took a little prodding and pulling to get them conversing.
Yeah.
But once the conversation started, it was a great conversation and
absolutely
it flowed.
And I think that, the Academy probably loves Kicks so much that they would have wished, to do it again, and almost looking for perfection, right? Like even if it's a great interview, you can still like look at it and think, I would have asked this and I would have asked that, because.
Or to have more time to do it.
Exactly. Because you just are so in love with the band.
Yep.
All right.
For sure.
All right. And the winner is, according to the Academy, Adam and the Metalhawks. We could do Adam and the Metalhawks over again. The Academy selected Adam and the Metalhawks.
What an upset. I loved them, though. Again,
of course.
Kudos to you guys. Some great interviews, great bands. Just need to get more of them in this year.
If we can get Adam and the Metalhawks back here, we will damn sure get Adam and the Metalhawks back here and talk to them a bit more. We should have had Scott on the drum roll. Just hit me like when
Scott was just giving it to you.
I heard that, and he just did air drums. That was Scott's drum roll. All right, last podcast category. You want to take this one, Kevin?
Sure, why not?
All right.
Reel or short of the year.
All right, so not an actual podcast, but if you are into our socials, we will post reels. Some reels have had some big hits, like the Chips Enough, is our podcast big hitter, but we got some heavy hitters with some reels and TikTok. We've had some heavy hitters on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
I learned a lot about reels from my stepson this year. Like he loved cutting reels and shorts and throwing them up there. So we had some good heavy hitters.
Yep.
All right.
Nominee number 1.
All right.
Jimmy's Chicken Shack first ever digital short.
So we had the first digital video ever aired on MTV, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, so Jimmy's Chicken Shack revealed that they had the first ever digital video, or Jimmy Haha revealed this, on MTV. And so we cut a short of that, and just basically him talking about that in about, 20 to 30 seconds. Yep. So that was just really just a clip that actually caught Scott, the producer. So like Scott was new to that information, and he really liked that part of the interview. And we got a lot of hits off of that. So that was a good piece of information. That was a snippet that was, I think, good to know.
Yep. Nominee number 2, Kicks concert body count.
Yeah, we referred to our Kicks. We really still don't know our body count, so to speak. Nope. And we stole that from a tribe called Jess. So just that term body count. Thank you, Jess. And evidently a lot of people like that term because we're getting hits off of that one too.
Nominee number 3, Gen Z killing drinking at concerts.
Damn Gen Z, man. They're not drinking at the shows.
Gen Z drinking habits are killing concerts.
Yeah. The money that goes into the concert industry is fueled by alcohol. Controversial clip. You pissed some people off on that one, Kevin.
It's because they're soft.
So that might be another clip right there. Like you're standing a hard line.
On.
You are not backing down.
No, I am not.
We had probably, I think, our most
turn it up.
like trolling comments on that clip.
Yeah?
I think we had the angriest response.
They should show up. They should turn up and have fun.
They did not have fun. I don't know. Do you think they had fun with the clip when they were firing shots at us?
Probably.
All right. Next nominee.
What the fuck is emo music?
That's another. Dude, you have made a lot of shorts. You've been like the short king this year. Yeah.
What the fuck is emo?
Yeah.
Guilty.
That came out of Scott.
You're a different kind of short king. not that kind of short king.
Yeah, like Scott, like, he went out to see his emo show, and then that was when you were like, that's where you gave your what the fuck. That was the WTF. All right, the winner is What the Fuck is Emo?
Damn. I like that one a lot, not your biggest, yeah.
We had some like biting comments out of that one too.
Because I said that?
Yeah, I think the people that are into emo that saw that clip were not happy that you did not know that term of emo music.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go. I don't know. We got to get an emo band in here. We could really talk that out.
We could debate whether it's emo or pop punk.
There you go. Love it. Okay, we're moving away from the podcast in our final categories. We're going to move on to music now. We're talking about music of 2023 specifically. And we have multiple nominees for these categories because there was a lot of great new music that was released in 2023. And we talk about our categories. I feel like this category is kind of broad. We went with hard rock and metal album of 2023. Yep. We talked a lot about our preferred albums along the way as they were released during the year. And I think that we probably, at least I've tried to go back and comb over, some of the podcasts that we had done to find what we talked about the most. And I think these are the albums that we talked about the most. And so that's what we're discussing now. And if we missed anything, Scott and Lou out there and these nominees, if you want to throw in some nominees also that caught your attention this year, feel free. And because I think this will be more of a topic of bigger debate. All right, go ahead, Kevin, read them off.
So nominee number 1, Buck Cherry, Volume 10.
I love that title, Volume 10, the double entendre. So it's their 10th album, but it's also hitting Volume 10. They went Spinal Tap, they could go Volume 11.
Volume 11.
Exactly.
Well, we can stop here. Dirty Honey, Can't Find the Brakes.
Dirty Honey, Can't Find the Brakes. We dedicated a good 15, 20 minutes just to this album.
I know.
And just literally called it that episode, Why You Should Listen to Dirty Honey.
Which episode is that?
I don't know what number it is, but it's deep. It's in the 70s.
We need to promote that one.
I know 71 or 72. It's in our socials. We did post it up as a as a post.
And then this one, I'm stoked because we're getting ready to see these guys in a little bit over a month or so. Extreme 6.
Extreme 6. Like there's a lot of numeric albums, just like not getting creative on the titles. If it's the 6th album, we're just calling it.
When
6.
is Extreme?
In February.
February 2nd at Charlestown. Heading to West Virginia for that one.
Woo!
Yes.
Foo Fighters, but here we are.
Fighters, but here we are. Coming out with kind of more of a somber Foo Fighters album. Yep. But still a great live show. Josh Freese replacing Taylor Hawkins, and Dave Grohl lost both Taylor Hawkins and his mother, which obviously affected the tone of the album, but it's a great album all the same.
Absolutely. Metallica, 72 Seasons.
We did, obviously, we had so many bottoms up episodes born out of that, like ranking Metallica albums in 72 Seasons, how it fell into that debate.
Queens of the Stone Age, In Times New Roman.
A little partial to that one myself. Like I'm a huge
Good
Queens
stuff.
fan. I know, a big Queens of the Stone Age fan. Great live show.
And the Struts, Pretty Vicious.
All right, great party album. So, and the dark and dankness of metal that sometimes it can become, and the seriousness, Pretty Vicious is that old, almost throwback to old school glam.
Yeah, so then when you're done decking the halls with your metal holiday music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's your New Year's album.
There you go.
Pretty Vicious. I don't know, the Peanut Gallery out there. You guys have any thoughts on those albums? Anything stand out, jumping out to you?
It's got to be Dirty Honey. Because
the Academy is biased.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a new answer in 2024. It's no longer going to be Kicks.
What would happen if Kicks had a new album to put in 2023?
I don't know.
Wow.
I know, right? Exactly.
Mind blown.
Right. And the winner is Dirty Honey, Can't Find the Brakes. The Academy is somewhat predictable.
That was the easiest one of all night.
Is it controversial, though? Is it controversial compared to any of those? I mean, those are all great albums. I listened to all of those albums.
I don't think so.
All right.
I mean, you could probably say that there's somebody has different tastes. Maybe the Metallica is pretty strong, but
yeah. Yep.
Can't go wrong with Dirty Honey.
All right.
It's just too bad Megadeth came out in 2022.
I was thinking about that for you, Kevin. I was like, you would be so torn if you had Can't Find the Brakes and The Sick, the Dead, and the Dying like on the same list. I don't know what you would do.
Well, it didn't happen, so it doesn't matter.
Where's the head exploding sound effect?
Exactly, right. All right, let's go to hard rock metal songs. So not the album, but the actual song, like a song release. So we were particular to this. So the songs literally had to be released as singles and identified as singles. So these are not deep tracks. So, we're keeping the category more simple. I always think songs are hard because there's so many of them. And there's so many, of course, great songs. So it's just basically a limited list of songs that the Academy selected. And the nominees are
Blood in the Water, Aaron Jones.
Great song, great tune. He was a great live act at Sonic Temple.
Yep. Lux Eterna, Metallica.
Yeah, that's a good thrash song.
Perhaps GNR.
That's kind of amazing that the version of Guns N' Roses that includes Slash and Duff McKagan, they put out an actual new single.
Yep.
Yeah.
They actually just released another new one.
Yes.
Well, another reissue of a Chinese Democracy, but with
those, yeah,
the current band performing it.
But I still consider this like a pure GNR song.
Yeah.
With those two there.
For sure. Yeah. Rescued by Foo Fighters.
Mm-hmm. Big hit.
Yep. Rise, Extreme.
And what a rockin' song, The Rise, that rises by Extreme. Like that is not a more than words. If you're used to hearing like the soft, somber more than words, you're not going to like Rise.
Get the funk out.
Yes. Rise is bringing in, to me, some Van Halen.
Yeah,
hard hitting
sure.
Van Halen into like a modern sound.
Yep. Separate Ways, Chris Daughtry and Lizzie Hale.
A cover. Yeah,
Yes.
almost like a 20-year-old cover.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
A great cover.
And Won't Take Me Alive, Dirty Honey.
The first song off Can't Find the Brakes, Won't Take Me Alive from Dirty Honey. Of course, Dirty Honey made that list. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, that's a shock.
Are they gonna sweep? They're gonna take album and song?
Nope.
Kevin says no.
Yes.
Lou says yes. The Academy Academy decided on Lux Eterna from Metallica as the song of 2023. That is a bitchin' driving thrash song.
NASCAR loved it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Very true, very true. All right, last two categories. We move from actual recorded music to live music. This is, I think, the great category to close on because this whole show, I feel like all year long, has been about live music.
Yep.
And that's what I think we hopefully have been passionately talking about minute after minute after minute.
I hope that shows through to the folks that have been watching the episodes and will hopefully continue watching the episodes. And obviously, spun up also to help promote the live music that's here at the Salisbury Center too.
Sure.
So, which we got some stuff coming up in 2024. It's really exciting.
Can't
Looking
wait.
forward to.
It's gonna be yes. It starts with Pete. We're going back to we talked about Pete several times in this episode. And we're talking about Pete coming in, so I'm sure we'll talk to him again. We've had actually a couple conversations, but he's kicking off the first live event that I'm aware of right there, Mr. Salisbury, here at the Salisbury Center. It's January 13th.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
The New Year's after New Year's party.
Absolutely.
So, Evic, obviously. F It All is going to be one of the
I love those guys.
bands.
Yes.
Road Ducks are coming in too, right?
Road Ducks in on that show, Mr. Salisbury?
They were supposed to be, but I think that I don't know how much I can disclose, but I think that the singer's out for some medical reasons.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I think that they're not going to make it after all. So I'm not sure what Pete's going to do.
Sure.
I was going to talk to him this week.
All right, cool.
All right. So yeah, coming up.
All right. First category of live music is live show of the year, live show of 2023 at the Salisbury Center. So these are shows that were featured here in Manassas. I'll let you read them off there, Kevin.
Age of Ruin, January 30th.
Yeah, it was kind of the first exposure that I saw. Actually, not my first exposure, but the first time they kind of like did the, it was the punk rock / heavy metal night,
right?
Here, and that was definitely Daniel Ruin's baby, and it was really there was several of those events, but that kicked it off for 2023.
Yep. Evic, February the 6th. That was the New Year's after New Year's bash.
Absolutely.
Days of Five, May 13th.
That was a hell of a show. Days of Five, May 13th. How could you not deny that one?
Of course, epic.
Kicks on May 13th.
Also on May 13th. All right, yeah. So I guess you had an opener and a headliner, making the list at the Salisbury Center here.
Two Piece Nugget, July 22nd.
Two Piece Nugget, man. What a show that was. An offshoot of Three Hole Punch. Yep. Down from Three Hole Punch to Two Piece Nugget, and then also an offshoot of My Penis, which also sometimes known as Side Piece. So really just kind of full variation of that band, but Two Piece Nugget that night. I remember we're supposed to be on for 10 minutes, and they wound up being on for a good 30, stalling for another band to follow up, and which made for some good comedic moments.
No relation to the Glowing Embers.
No relation to the Glow. Could have been.
Okay. Jimmy's Chicken Shack, July 22nd.
Yes.
Headlining of the Local Palooza soiree.
Uh-huh. And I mean, it was great to see the Shack here. They were solid.
Yep, that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the spotlighting.
Yeah, there was some strobe, Atherin. I mean, we almost had this as a category. We almost had an Atherin moment of the year. We had so many categories, and we know how this conversation was going to be long. The Academy just dropped that one last minute, but we did have an Atherin of the year moment in mind.
She's not freelancing as a lighting engineer tomorrow night, is she?
And our final,
we kid,
right?
The final nominee for the best live show at the Salisbury Center, Daniel Ruin in the Manassas Holiday Parade, December the 9th.
Yeah, so that wasn't really at the Salisbury Center, but the Salisbury Center had a float in the holiday parade here in Manassas, if you happen to catch it. And Daniel Ruin was on that float playing a bitchin' version of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, as well as some other rock embellishments, and very much a spectacle of rock and metal floating downtown through Old Town Manassas at a holiday event. And I love the reels of that event because I think it was extremely well received by the crowd. And I love seeing the families rocking out and having some bitchin' heavy metal good time at 9 a.m. freezing on a Saturday morning to Daniel Ruin up there.
That was cool.
That was slick. So those are our nominees. Any thoughts out there from the outside? Did we miss any shows here from the Salisbury Center that you would have mentioned then also? Academy.
Well, obviously, Pete being here would have been one of them.
Well, we got Evic on February 6th.
Yeah.
So there was the This, That, and the Other.
The Doors show, maybe.
Uh-huh.
Those guys were fantastic. It wasn't a huge crowd, but they were honestly one of the best bands that we've had in here.
Oh, cool.
What about Trans-Siberian Orchestra?
Yes, of course. That was
I think you recency bias let that one slip through because that one was really awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
They were great.
Yeah, of course. That was 12/22.
12/24.
24, yes, 12/22. 12/24.
Yeah, December 24th.
Yeah, you're right.
For the Christmas band.
As opposed to that
Mr. Bah Humbug over here.
As opposed to that significant holiday of 12/22.
Jeff's going to do the Grinch band.
Hey, look, I threw Daniel Ruin up there for his rendition of the Grinch. All right, the winner is No, I'm kidding. Kicks, May 13th.
Woohoo!
Kick show. Of course, the owner's birthday bash is running wild with awards and superlatives tonight. How could it not?
Had to.
Of course it had to. Of course, it's hard to beat that one. I mean, Days of Five damn near stole it, but it took the power of Kicks, to bring that home.
Might have had to audit.
I was going to say, there's no reaction from that one. There's like zero. Everything just fell flat. All right.
Sorry, I'm trying to also do my day job while I'm doing it.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, the last one.
Okay, live show. We were inside the Salisbury Center. Now we're going to go outside of the Salisbury Center. And there's a caveat to this one. Both representation had to happen from Stand Up and Shout Rock Show. In other words, Kevin and I both had to be there. At least the two of us both had to be there for this to be nominated. Otherwise, we would have probably been in a screaming debate and possibly rolling around on the floor, arguing over all of the shows that we've all been to all through the year. So that limits the nominees significantly for the Academy. So it was an easier selection process. All right. You want to read off the final?
Yeah, 7 nominees. Though.
7 nominees. We were at least at 7 shows together this year, Kevin, at least. I think we've been to more.
Definitely more.
Yeah.
First nominee, Alter Bridge, February the 5th.
It's kind of easy to forget that show happened. And that was because it was a while ago, obviously. And Mammoth, Wolfgang Van Halen, Mammoth WVH, opened up for them. And that was just fantastic.
Yeah.
That was a great night. And
awesome show.
Alter Bridge is always solid. How do you feel about Creed touring in 2024?
So I like Creed when they came out, particularly the first album. So I think it's interesting to me that they're doing it.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised.
Yeah,
because
me too.
Alter Bridge has such a huge following. And I know when we talked about this, like Tremonti has his own band called Tremonti, and Miles bounces in and out, and he goes on tour with Slash, and he does his own solo thing.
Right.
So maybe it's just, this is one of these side projects that's going to spin up, and because of the anniversary of the albums and that kind of stuff, it kind of makes sense. But there was such a fracture in that band split that you never would have thought that they ever would have gotten back together again. It was just a lot of negativity towards each other. So it'll be interesting, and it's a good bill that when they come here to Jiffy Lube. So would certainly be interested in checking it out.
I know. So like Scott Stapp went pretty crazy back then too. Like I can't remember any specific stories, but I remember they were kind of out there.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that we'll probably be revisiting this topic as that show gets closer to being here.
And the other thing I loved at the Alter Bridge show was when Paul Reed Smith came out on stage and delivered a brand new guitar to Mark Tremonti.
That's right, yeah.
And then came back out during the encore and jammed with the band.
Yes, yeah.
That was really cool.
Good night. It's a night that I feel like kind of got swept under the rug a little bit. I know we talked about it, way back almost a year ago, but and looking back, it's kind of like easy to forget that was less than a year ago.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Second nominee, M3 Rock Festival.
M3 Rock Festival. Every band at the M3 Rock Festival has to take on all of these acts independently. So like they have maybe a size advantage because there was some good stuff that we saw there, but we were there for one day. We didn't go for the full festival this year.
Right.
Yeah. But we're going to the full festival next year.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Night Ranger, July 7th.
Yes, that was a slick show.
Yeah, Capital One Hall.
That was great at the Capitol. And I mean, I've never seen a bad Night Ranger show.
No, they're awesome.
Yep.
It's phenomenal live.
Yep.
GNR, August the 11th, Hershey Park Stadium.
You had GNR as your top summer show. That was your number one when we talked about, we reflected on our summer shows.
Yep. It was a good show.
Mm-hmm.
Both the live and Memorex parts.
Yes.
Billy Idol, September 8th.
Uh-huh.
At the Anthem.
That was great. I mean, we had a great September. We're going down. We're going to do like 3 shows here, like made the list in September. But Billy Idol's another one like Night Ranger. He's not going to show up. And
that's the first time I'd seen him live. And
really?
I was very, very surprised.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that.
Good.
I forgot that. I mean, now that you say it, I do remember you saying that.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting that.
That was a phenomenal show.
So who was there when we saw him with the Cult? I saw him with the Cult in high school. It was like the Cult opened for Billy Idol in high school.
I wasn't at that one.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Greta Van Fleet, September 11th.
I'm wearing the colors. Like, I think Lou thought we were a little crazy about this one, but I think that this was, if we reflect back on that, the most uplifting show, the most positive, feel good, hippie, warm, fuzzy vibes that came out of any rock show, and also a very young crowd.
Yeah,
I was
young
an old
crowd.
We were old men in that show.
We talked about that, and I just had I had a blast at that show because it's the first time I'd seen them live, and it was like their first big headlining tour. So I wasn't even sure, what to expect from them as a band, having to carry, the whole show. And they were phenomenal. Just great musicians.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And then
the final nominee,
Kicks, September 17th, Merriweather Post Pavilion.
Their final show.
The final show.
That's still stunning to say.
Yep.
Yeah. Just always, again, like we've talked about in so many of these other nominations, these nominees, never been a bad Kick show. I can't remember ever seeing them and saying like, they were all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time we've seen them, it's been great, whether it was on the back of a pickup truck or, what it was at Merriweather, which was the biggest stage show, light show, pyro, everything was there. And generally we didn't have that at Kick shows.
No.
And it was just a great way to wrap it all up. And they brought almost all the members of the band's history on stage at different points in time. And I think it was just a great way to send them out.
Yep, absolutely. You're right. It was a very complete Kick show. It was just so well thought and planned. And how about the snippets? Like even you could they wanted to get to songs they couldn't get to.
Those were the best.
And so they put together some snippets.
Just enough to make you go, oh,
I know, right? I wish they would play that.
On.
Yes. Yeah. So sure. All right. Any predictions from what the Academy selected out of these nominees?
It's got to be Kicks.
Of course it's Kicks year.
Got to sweep the categories.
So Kicks did almost a full sweep of anything they were nominated in. It was their year in 2023. What a hell of a way to go out. Hey, Motley Crue, learn some lessons. Learn some lessons, Motley.
Yeah, I mean, classy, sounded great.
Yes.
Were awesome, super nice.
Yep.
And of course, doesn't hurt that Mark gave me the little swag bag from the show on top of it. Yeah.
Right.
Mark Schenker. Shout out to Mark Schenker and
Of
Kicks.
course.
Who comes to the shows. And now they're in their great band, Sundogs.
And I was about to bring that
him
up.
and Bob Paré. Yeah.
They are kicking off the first day of M3, right? The Saturday of M3? I believe there's Saturday at M3 in that rock festival. So great Rush tribute band, which is not an easy tribute band to be in. But I will say I've seen them, and they are, and Mark sings the Geddy Lee songs, and he sings them extremely well. So we can't promote Kicks, but we'll promote Sundogs.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's been a phenomenal year, and just the opportunity to do this with both of you guys has just been awesome.
Absolutely, sir. I love you, brother. It's been a great time. Yep. Great year. And I can't believe it's been a year. I mean, it's just flown by.
It has flown by.
Yeah.
And
All right. Those are our superlatives, the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show superlatives of 2023. Again, if you want to watch any of these episodes, anything that we've discussed, it's on the Wylde Style Network on YouTube. So WYLDESTYLE. So Wylde and Style, spelled very similar, all one word. Wylde Style Network. You'll see us as well as a Tribe Called Jess and our sportsbook podcast that comes out of the Salisbury Center as well. Notebook Wagering. Scarby's not sort of Notebook Wagering. And so we'll see more of you, though. We're not done. We're not done by any means. But this wraps up season 1, and season 2 will begin, in 2 weeks?
2 weeks, yeah. So everyone have a great holiday, great Happy New Year, and we'll see you on the other side.
Cheers. Happy New Year.
See ya.